Welcome to East Tennessee Pinball. Today I've got this Freddy and Nightmare on Elm Street. So the game came in, it's working mostly. It's got pin lights and they're not working. I don't know exactly what's wrong with them yet. I've kind of take it off. The cabinet is really tight. It's got the magnetic strips on here, and Playfield barely comes up and down. I'll go ahead and boot it up here. Well, I've got some credits on it. So this little door, it tried to open, but it operates and it kind of goes halfway up and then it comes back down. Not sure about that. It didn't kick out a ball. It was kicking out balls. Oh, there was a ball that was stuck. It didn't make it all the way in the turn. See, this thing here is just, it's just kind of barely moving. That's not quite right. The owner of this game didn't care for the sound. Right now, there's a ton of motor sound. Let me see if I'll turn it off. Yeah. So there's nothing particularly wrong with the sound. It's just kind of tinny sounding, you might say. It sounds like a 35-year-old pinball machine. So that's the first thing I'm going to probably dig into is go through the soundboards. The Playfield's dirty, and it's got a little bit of wear in spots here, up by the pop bumpers. You know, some of these chains tore up. There's lots of little spots. So, like I said, it's dirty. It's also got this Mylar overlay. I'm half tempted to pull that up. I don't know. It's a factory overlay, but you see that kind of mottled look. It's kind of where places are kind of like, I wouldn't say it's peeling up, but it's not. It's like almost like dimples underneath there. You can't get rid of that. It would look a lot better to pull that up and get rid of it. And now that it's in home use only, you don't really need it anymore. So let's look a little bit crooked. Yeah, that's loose. I'll leave it crooked for now. So it's got a lot of little mods on it. It's got a little TV. It's kind of cool. I'm pulling the side rails off. The guy's going to get them powder coated. I'm going to do my best to get these off without bending them up. So it's just a matter of how, like that nail, I'll be able to get that one out. Some of these are tight, like that one's tight. These top ones are loose. I'll be able to get something underneath them and get them out pretty easy. If you get the nails off, generally you get this off, and then you don't have to buy a new one. He had bought stickers for the sides, and my suggestion to him was to leave these on here because there's a little gouge right there, not too bad. There's a little wear in the corners here. Those could just be touched up. And this original sticker, I mean, it's stuck. I've seen just too many cabinets where you put the stickers on there and the new stickers start peeling up, and and the sticker that it's got is just not, it doesn't look like a very high quality sticker, to be honest. It came kind of mangled in the box, and you can see where the paint's kind of wearing off of it. And that's just from shipping in this container. You know, if it can't handle a little abrasion from the interior of the cardboard box, how's it going to hold up on the side of a pinball machine? You know, it's rubbing up against another machine potentially. You know, they take a rough life. So, I mean, this art here is much more robust than that stuff. So I think I've talked him into just leaving this one here because I think it's a better solution. Yeah, there's another little gouge there. Those can be, Jane can touch those up and make those look pretty nice. So I'm gonna end up tearing this thing down. I'm sure there's some other things that are not working right. It needs the ground update on the power supply. It needs a new cap on the power supply. But to start, I'm gonna pull so this one's got a soundboard, and it's got an auxiliary soundboard. I think this one does call outs. I'm going to pull this auxiliary soundboard first and replace all the electrolytic caps. I may replace these tantalum caps on here. There's about 8 or 10 of these tantalum caps, and put in electrolytic caps on these. I don't know, but I'm gonna start pull this one and replace all those electrolytic caps, and see if I can tell the difference. It may not make any difference at all. The guy really wants to do it, so I'm gonna do it. So that's first thing up for business. So I got this board recapped. It was a real pain. The traces were a little delicate, and every single one of these leads is bent down massively, which means you've got to heat them up, bend them up, then get the solder off, and then pull it out. And that's hard to do. So it's done. I'm gonna throw it back in there and make sure I've got continuity between a couple of, I did lift a couple of pads. I got those repaired. I believe it's good. I'm gonna find out here in a second. All right, it's back in the game. Do a smoke test. Start a game.
Freddy's home.
All right. I gotta put some balls in here. That thing will shut up. Jeez, if I get the ball kicking out the balls, I hear it better. It's definitely a little bit louder, I would say. And I haven't changed the volume, which is probably an indication that things are happier. It might be a little bit cleaner. Honestly, my hearing is not very great anyway, so it's hard for, I'm not the best judge, to be honest. I listened to way too much AC/DC in my Trans Am when I was in high school, and that's no joke. So I'm gonna do a little bit. I'm gonna read the pin wiki guide on the main board here. I'm just looking at it real quickly. I'd say I don't really see any amplifiers or anything in here on this board. No, I don't know what those are. I don't have the schematics, unfortunately. And these are schematics. You can't download these because they're Gottlieb. I have to buy a set of them. Don't know if I really want to dig into all these if I don't need to. I'm gonna read the pin wiki guide. See what they suggest. I don't think it suggests doing it. May not. I know that these can fail catastrophically. They just explode and they cause all kinds of problems, but they haven't. They probably won't. So I think I'll leave the soundboard for now. I may come back to this, but I'm gonna leave it for now. So I just read the pin wiki guide on this board and Clay's guide also, and basically these, if you're having some real loud screeching sounds, you probably suspect one of these caps is bad, but I don't think that's the case, and so I'm not gonna do any more with this one. So the next thing I'm gonna do is just gonna go through the 5-volt regulator. I'm gonna pull this board, reflow the solder on it, check out that 5-volt regulator, clean that up a little bit, and then throw it back in the game and measure the 5 volts, get it tuned in. So I'm gonna yank it first. So I got this 5-volt regulator out. The back of the board looks pretty good. Somebody has actually swapped this LM338. The solder joints actually look pretty good, but I'm gonna hit them just real quick. I got it out on the plugs, and then I'll throw it back in the game, not turn it on, and adjust the 5 volts. Well, turn it on, not have it plugged in, not the 5 volts out anyway, and tune the 5 volts, and then plug it in, and then check it again after it's plugged in, because sometimes it'll draw it down a little bit. So I threw this back in the game, had that unplugged, turned it on, measured 5, it moves at 5.1, which is just about perfect. So I plugged it back in there. It's pretty much stayed at 5.1, so that's good. think I think I'm done with the back box. We all go down look at the power supply underneath here. I think I saw that it's got the original cap in there that probably should be swapped out, and the ground update on all these Gottliebs, all the return solenoid grounds that come back to the transformer, just the way they're physically attached is kind of problematic. I mean, as far as I know, they're all working right now, but it's a sketchy connection. There's a better way to do it. So we got the playfield lifted up. I believe this is probably the lights. So that's not necessary to swap that one in. It looks like this one may have been swapped out before. And I think that is the 12 volts, which gets ultimately turned into the 5 volts. And I don't think that's the original, but it still could be 20 or 30 years old. So let's see if I can snip it out of here one-handed. I'll get a better look at it. No date code, but I don't think that's the original one. At least on a lot of the Gottliebs I've worked on, they're orange. But most of those were not System 3s, so anyway, it's not gonna hurt to swap it. So 10,025. I got a bunch that'll work on that. All right, so I got that swapped out, and that's actually a 12,000. Don't be too alarmed that it's much smaller. That's just modern technology. Their caps are smaller. So this is the issue. I got my shadow. There we go. These are all the return solenoids grounds. So when the solenoid fires, the ground ends up coming back here and going back to the transformer. The problem is, so they plug into this board, that's not really that's part of the problem. So you've got a potential failure between these pins and those pins, and then those pins are soldered into the board. It's another failure. And then the board, how it gets off is there's a bracket. It's hard to see, but there's an L bracket that's screwed into that little screw under my finger there, that's basically screwed into the side of this case. So you've got all these potential places for it to go wrong. And so the solution is kind of crude. Basically, you cut these connectors off, get you a fairly large gauge wire, and just get a wire nut with basically a loop connector, and screw it into the side of this cabinet using where the old brackets are. So I'm gonna take this thing off and put it together. It's really just a matter of stripping back all these wires and bundling them into manageable pieces. I get that off. Okay, I think I've got them all off. I guess next I'll go ahead and unscrew that bracket. So, kind of hard to do with one hand. There we go. I don't believe there's a nut on the back side of these. No. Set that right there. I'll probably reuse that screw. Its brother is right here. And on the back side of this board, those two pads, that's where all the current goes through. It's just attached to this, which is not obviously a very great connection. And then that is just bolted into the side of this big bracket that the transformer is mounted to. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull off these brackets here, get some more bolts, and I'll use those threaded holes for that
to ultimately attach all these wires in a more secure way. See, that's the extent. There's not even clock washers or anything. It's just a potential problem. I'm going to use 2 hands for the rest of this, and I'll film a little bit once I get a little further. Okay, after getting that board off and the brackets, I just cut all the connectors off. There's 4 connectors, and so those are all just cut off. And next I'm going to strip back a fair generous amount, because I'm going to bundle each of these up. I might bundle some of these, pair a couple of them up into big wire nuts with another wire that comes around and screws back in. I've got a couple of these just started, so there's a couple more on this other side, and so it's just making a wire harness. So this just ends up being a lot more secure than going through that pin, going through this board, get through this to the other side to that bracket, then back through that to the board. So that basically gets to the wire nut, which is pretty secure, and then just right into the board, so, or the plate, I should say. Just for fun, I'm measuring that old cap, and it's measuring, if I get it to go, about 8. It's rated as a 10, so it was not feeling too happy. I just made up these 3 pigtails. 2 of the bundles were pretty small, so I'll probably put those together. So this end will get screwed into that case, and this one will get put in with a wire nut with a big bundle of bare wires. And that's all there is to it. Okay, so it's all mounted, so each little bundle gets wire nutted to a little pigtail, and then the pigtails are screwed in flush to the base there, and that's a lot better, more secure connection. Guess while I'm down here, I'll go through these fuses, and who wants to make a bet whether they're all right? At least one is wrong. I'll bet money. I generally I'd say I'd bet 3 to 1, 4 to 1 that there's at least one wrong fuse. No, that's not an original one right there. That looks like one of Steve's 5 amps. Third one down, 15 amp. I don't know. Well, I'm gonna pull them and we'll see. I'm glad nobody's here to take that bet, because they were all perfect. Even 3/8 slow blow, it was 3/8 slow blow. I mean, they were all right. So I think I'll button this back up. That's done. Find my nut driver and tighten that down, and we'll get the playfield back down. Before I take the playfield back down, I think I'm gonna look at this motor and see what's going on here, because this one was struggling. It was kind of like go just barely nudge and get stuck. So I'm gonna, there's probably a test in the menu for that, I bet. Oh, I've got it unplugged. I do like to unplug the game when I'm messing around near the transformer, just because I've been down that rodeo, not much fun. This one doesn't have any bare wires, but you know, still not a bad idea. Oh yeah, this one's got the, this is the main power right here. Well, we're booted up here. So that's, the good news is the motor's running, it's just not shoving that up. So I think it just needs some adjustment. Like this lever should be rotated about 20 or 30 degrees that way, because it's only going from down to, it's not engaged all the time. So if I can get that to come back down. Yeah, reach in here if I can. Yeah. See that, I think that should stay on there all the time. So it's somehow it's out of adjustment. The set screw there, the set screw there. There's a, yeah, I can see those set screws there. And there's a nut that's, I don't know if that's keyed, this arm, if that's keyed around that nut or what. Not sure. Let's see if I get into the test and see if it's hitting the. It's like there's a couple of end of stroke, like where it gets either side. It's supposed to hit a couple of switches. See if it's going through all. So I'm gonna try to get these rails off here. I'm gonna start with using some side cutters. They've got, if you see, these are kind of junky ones because I'm gonna tear them up. But I think, like, I'm just looking at like that one, I'll be able to get out pretty easy, and that one, some of these are already kind of loose. That one probably, that one's pretty tight. That'll be a little bit more of a challenge, but I'm gonna try to get it out, this off of there without getting it all bent up, because if it's all bent up, then you're looking at buying a new set, because like I said, this guy's gonna get them all powder coated. So I'm gonna put you on the stand and you'll see how I do. Here we go, the first one. This one shouldn't be too bad because it's already pretty, yeah, that was no problem at all. Once you get it there, you're a home way out. You're all the way home. I just get pliers. These are kind of threaded, so it helps if you twist them when you pull them out. They're nails, but they're slightly threaded, so if you know, lefty-loosey, you get something to stick these in. There's one. Let's go over here to our next one. Yeah, this should be another moderately easy one. You see those, it just slides up in there. I just kind of found this by happen chance. There we go. Here's our next one. Yeah, no problem with that. I'm just going to leave that there for now. Show focused in here. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. That one will be a little more challenging. The other thing that helps, a lot of times there's a little, if you push in, sometimes you can gain a little bit more room. Yeah, this one's going to be tough. Well, let me see if I can get a knife under the ether. You probably find some videos where people go in for the underside and do that, and I've done that, but you almost invariably splay this out a little bit, and you know, if you want to keep it really nice and pristine, there's hardly any way to go back from that. It's probably a good way to cut myself with this little janky knife. I'm just trying to get a little bit of room. If I can get a little bit, then I can get something more substantial underneath. Okay, I think I got it. Yep, I got it. Okay, that one's good. This one doesn't look too awful bad.
I don't like using that. Yeah, that popped it out just a little bit more. All right, just a couple more here. If I can find it. There it is. This one's probably the worst one. I can't get. Tell you what, I'm gonna get myself a fresh blade. There we go. So I've got a sharp corner. Yeah. I'll come back to that one. Tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna zoom y'all out. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these bolts out of there, or nails. I'll get these out that I've already loosened up. I'm hoping that by doing this, I'll have a little maybe just work it like this a little bit. Yep, that did it. That was the key. It looks like I've got a bolt from the inside there, so before I start yanking on this, I'm gonna have to take this button off. So I'll do that before I dig any further along. Holes Playfield up. Yeah, I'm gonna take this bolt off, take that flipper switch off, and then maybe give it a little bit of pry to get that one started. So this is not too awful bad. Some of these big, I'll show you in a second. Big nuts. Hold that on there. It's one of those on the back side. Just 3/8 inch nut, I think. Drop the washer. Keep all my hardware together. And now, I've just got that one that's left. It's really tight. You don't want to go too aggressive or you'll make a little dimple, and once it's there, it's hard to see. That was it. That did it. I've got a little bit of room there, enough to get these side cutters in. And now I can get my pliers. And that dude is off. Some of these, I don't know about Gottlieb's, but a lot of the games have got glue on here, so it's not just the nails, you've also got glue behind it. So that came off, and it's true. So, I mean, there's some little tiny surface scratches on there. Those can be polished up, and this thing's gonna get powder coated, and usually the powder coating is pretty dang thick anyway. So a little tiny scratch like that, you can't even feel it with your fingernail. It's really just the difference of the way this thing has all these shavings going this way, and you're crossing over it. So I think that's gonna be good. So I'll do it on the other side. I need to talk to the owner and see if it was gonna take the coin door off, if he wants to do that or not. And if he wants to do this top rail here, I assume he probably does. Yeah, I'm sure he probably does, because it's gonna come up around, and yeah, he'll want to do that also. I don't know about the coin door, so I'll have to talk to him about that. So that's the first time I'd used that technique to get these side rails off. It's also the first time I've ever gotten them off without kind of mangling them up. So I kind of like that. They didn't have glue on them, which helped a lot, because when I had a couple that were stuck, like on the, I didn't show this side, but this side was the same thing. I had one here and one here that were kind of stuck. I could just shake it a little bit and just gently for about 20-30 seconds and get myself a little bit of room, so I get those side cutters in there and pry it out. So now that we got it off, you see the dirt line where the edge of that old side rail's at, and there's really, I shouldn't say there's absolutely, at least by my eye, there's no difference between the sticker above and below. And on most games, there is. You know, you see the fresh looking color here, and it's always faded below. And this one's not. Even the black. I mean, so there's the dirt line right there where my index finger is. And I mean, you really can't tell the difference. I mean, I can't tell the difference at all right here in front of me. So the sticker's in really good shape. I mean, look, there are a couple little scratches and stuff, but you know, I think definitely for sure keeping this one here is the way to go. So I got the top piece off. There's a light bar, I had to take that off. I still haven't done anything with this yet. I was gonna do that. About ready to probably tear this down and figure out what I want to do with this Mylar. I need to find a spot, an inconspicuous spot, to try to take off a little bit of it. I don't know if it goes how far up. I think it ends right there. And see how easy it's going to come off. Sometimes they come off real easy with the freeze spray, and sometimes they don't. But it would look a lot better if the Mylar came off. I mean, the Mylar has done its job, but most of the plays that will ever be played on this game have been played. It's done its service in the public sphere. Probably won't go back to public sphere. Anyway, I'm gonna talk to the owner about that also. So anyway, I think I'll pause this for the moment and work on something else for a little bit. So I got some other projects out of the way. Back to this Freddy game. I'm ready to tear into this thing. I'm gonna strip it down. The bulbs on here, it's all LED'd, but they are crappy LEDs. I mean, these are pretty much garbage. They're early LEDs. Don't like them much. They've got the purple ones under there. I'm not really a fan. I mean, I've done it myself, of color GIs. Sometimes they're all right, but I'm gonna, at a minimum, I'm gonna put in some Comet purple ones, so they're a little bit brighter. So, gonna just, maybe I'll put y'all on the stand, and I'm gonna get busy. Yeah, there's lots of mods on this game. Tearing this thing down and clean it. Talked about taking the Mylar off. I think I'm not gonna do that. Just a lot of it, and that would be a tremendously big job getting all. I just pulled up a couple of Mylar pop bumper rings, and it wasn't much fun. I don't think I want to do that much Mylar. But I'm gonna tear this thing down, get it cleaned up. I was hoping to find a new ramp. Apparently this is unobtainium, and this one's got some minor cracks, but mostly it's the problem is just yellowed. But this is as good as it gets. There is no replacement for this, which is kind of too bad. Otherwise the game's in pretty good shape. So maybe I'll put y'all on the stand and I'm gonna get busy tearing it down. Into the trash. Before I pull out those last couple, I'm gonna put in some of these Comet 2 SMDs, and you'll see how much brighter they are versus the old ones. It's just like night and day. And they don't light up unless you bend them, which is kind of unfortunate there. You've got to bend the leads on every single one. They're way, way brighter. Well, I won't force y'all to watch this nonsense. We got the bulb swapped. Only one of the flashers was working. So I pulled all the flashers out, and here's a known good flasher. I put it in the 5-volt socket, and you see, you know, it's 5 volts is just enough to get it going. So all the rest of these, it's a good way to check them. Just put it in a 5-volt circuit, and it should run, and every single one of these is burnt out. So, you know, that's good news because they're not working, and that's the easy way to fix them is swap a bulb and not have to swap out a transistor or a socket or, you know, whatever might be ailing it. So it's probably just a bunch of bulbs, so good news. So that's a lot better. Well, only one's going now, but they're all flashing on and off. So that's gonna make a lot more dramatic back glass in the attract mode, and probably during the gameplay too, having all those flashers running. So I just pulled the MPU out, pulled this original battery out of there, and replaced it with a replaceable coin cell battery, another lithium. So this is the original lithium, Swiss made. They're not prone to leaking, and it was still working, but it's 30-something years old. It's, you know, it's time to be swapped. So I soldered in a coin cell battery. It'll take a 2032, and so that way, when that one gets old and tired, it's easy to no soldering required. So nice little. All right, so now I'm finally going to turn this thing down. I'm going to turn the game off. Maybe I'll just lay this down the bottom of the cabinet. Keep it safe. Is it working? Yeah, it's still working. It's pretty cool. It's just kind of in the way when you're messing with stuff. I'm guessing all these flasher bulbs are probably dead down here, or most of them. There's something like that might be a flasher, I'm not sure. That might be a flasher, I'm not sure either. I did buy a copy of the manual, so I can, if I get question things, I can look them up. But without further ado, let's dig into this mother. So I kind of got off my first layer of stuff, not very far. You see the shape of these rubbers, they're pretty crusty. You can see under here, these are really bad. Nobody swapped those out in a really long time. Anyway, after I take the first layer off, I'll take another set of pictures. So just keep taking pictures, helps repopulate. So I got this thing stripped down most of the way. To take this off, I've got it mostly loose, but I've got to take the hand off from the bottom side. I'm not gonna do that quite yet. I've got it in lamp test, which also flashes little flashers. Well, the ones that are live. So those are live. But as far as I can tell, those are the only flashers on the playfield that are working. That one's not working. That one's not working. That one's not working. And that one's not working. That one looked, I thought it was at first, but it's just reflecting off this. And if there's any other ones, they're not working either. So I'm gonna start swapping bulbs and see what works. Okay, sure enough, just bad bulbs. Some of these bulbs, they called for 67s, and they had the 81s, or what is it, 83s, I guess it was. I don't know. What is it, 80 something? Wrong voltage. They burn up 89s. They had the 89s that call for the 83s. So if you have the wrong ones in there, they're either going to burn too bright and burn up real quick, or they'll be too dim. I would guess those were the ones they're made for, like, these are probably the 14 volt and the other ones are 12 volts. And if you put the 12 volt in where they're getting 14 volts of voltage, they're really bright for a little while, but they don't last very long. Still got one more to get to. By the way, these things are the biggest pain to get off. I'm sure they were real nice to put on when they were manufacturing. There's a little washer, and there's a collar, and it's splayed. So you have to get that washer off first, which is no easy feat. Basically, you gotta pull this out. Anyway, it's a struggle. You gotta pull the button out, get the washer off, and then pull the whole thing out, and then you can get to the bulb. And then the real trick is getting it back out, because that thing the little plastic piece has been splayed out for 30 something years. Get it back through the hole of the plastic. Not easy. Like this one here, both the washers were already gone. It's on, but it's kind of floppy. That's what it was. Getting a washer back on those things, I mean, I may not be able to get the washers back on these. I'm gonna have to get this plastic off first before I even attempt it. It's not an easy thing to do. So just looking around, quite a bit of carnage. These flippers were pretty toasty. That one's almost dragging. Yeah, that one's even worse. So this game it's ready. It was ready. I'll take these pops off, I think. They're not horrible, but I don't know. I may take them off. Anyway, I think I'm gonna call it quits for the day. My Allen wrench has escaped me, and I've already stolen the one I need from Jane's set, so now I'm down 2 of that size I need right here. So I'm off to the parts store. So I just got that hand pulled out. It's basically like a flipper mech, so you got to undo the paws on the back side so you can get that out of the way. And yeah, these bulbs were installed back in 1993 or whenever this game came out. I don't know. They're pretty old. It may not be that old, but they're like the old GEs. Yeah, I think it says GE on there. Anyway, gonna put in some LEDs. I'm pretty sure that flasher's not working. See what number it is. I bet it's the right number. Well, can't really see a number. There it is, I found it. It's printed, not pressed on a GE67. So yeah, it's a high quality, original probably, 67. So it's the right number, because nobody's ever changed it. And now I get to try, that's what I was talking about earlier. Get that washer off, or push that down, push the washer up flush. It's just a monkey. So I got the cap off, got the new flasher in there, but and then it's unplugged. But unfortunately, it's, I'm gonna have to just go ahead and unsolder this real quick. I've got this video, so I'll be able to find it, but I'm gonna take a picture, a little bit easier to access, and so I can get this plastic off the playfield and not have it dangling here. Okay, so I have the ideal conditions here, except for to put this flasher cap back on. Ideal, like I'm on the bench, I'm sitting down. The problem is these are already way splayed out. So these have to go back through those holes. And then the washers need to go through. Or then the plungers need to go through, and then the washers, or yeah, This goes through, then the plunger goes through, then the washer goes, or sorry. Then these go on, then the plunger goes through. And yeah, just really difficult to get, first to get this on, and then it's even harder to get the washer on. And I'm gonna have to get some new nose pliers. So if you ever see a Gottlieb where the washers are not present, just be happy any of it's on there, because it's like, I'm sure this made manufacturing easy when these were fresh. Okay, I got that one in. I'm gonna see if I can get the other one in while I got it here. I'm probably focusing on my hand and not what I'm doing here. Okay, that went relatively easy. Now the hard part is going to be get these washers. Unfortunately, the hole in the washer is smaller than the hole in the plastic, so you can't just get it flush and jam it through. It's, yeah, if you thought the first part was hard, the second part is going to be even harder. Oh, I got it. Yeah, I got 3 of them. I think I'm gonna take the 3 and go with it. I don't think that's coming off. I'll take 3. When I say 3, there's 4 little splays coming out there, and it's just really hard to get all 4 of them on there. I think I got 3 again right there. I don't know if you can see, so there's one that's hanging down there. The washer's a little crooked, but it's not coming off. It's one nice and flush, so I'm calling that a win. That's a little twirly whirly. I don't think I'm gonna, I just, while I got it here, I'm thinking about it. Might just put a dab of super glue on there. Well, I'm not gonna do that now. Not with that super glue, that one's missing the sharp tip. I need a, well, what I really ought to do, put that on the vise and stamp it. This probably needs to be oriented the proper way. It's probably meant to direct the ball in case it goes the wrong way. So I really need to know which way that, I need to get cleaned up first. I'm gonna hold off on that for now. This game, the threaded posts have thread lock, so I got that one out. You can see the blue thread lock in there. That one busted off, and that one busted off. It helps to get it, if you get it to come out a little bit, it go back and forth until you kind of get that thread lock busted up. But I broke off 2, so I've got some more posts. Anyway, I got a couple more to go. I don't think that'll be threaded. It might be threaded. We'll see. So is it going to be? Yeah, it's a threaded one. I can already tell. It's super tight. It's two out and then one back. And I'm just creeping it along. Okay, I think I got it now. Yeah. Oh, it broke. Yep. I thought I had it. Oh well. Little Siamese. This one will probably just be threaded. Yeah. No, it wasn't. It just didn't have any thread lock on it. I should thread it. I meant like a screw fitting, but it was not. It didn't break. No thread lock. So when you get these like this, just get a, sorry, like that. Just get a punch and punch it out to the bottom. I'll do that right now. And this is what falls out the other side. It's trash at this point, but you could just get a new T-nut, press it in the back side, and a new bolt, and then you're good to go. So one of those T-nuts right there, at the end of my finger, it's underneath this, what's basically a flipper mechanism, which rotates the hand. So I'm gonna take this off to get that T-nut out and put a new T-nut back in there. Happy, happy, joy, joy. So I've loosened up 5 of the 6 bolts, little screws here. I'm gonna take the 6th one. I'm gonna try to get this thing out of there without taking this completely off. Why isn't it coming off of there? It should be loose. All 6 are loose. It's not, it's just stuck. I don't know why it's stuck. I guess I'll take these the rest 2 or 3 all the way off. It's always something. Let me get my punch. Punch back to the other side now. There we go. And I'm gonna put a new one in there real quick before I push all this back. I'm just gonna go ahead. I should have just taken this thing off anyway. There's not that much saving in labor to try to just do it halfway. Well, there we go. Get this new one in there. I'm gonna get a punch and get that in there a little bit better. So those T-nuts have those little fangs that kind of seat in. There we go. Now that'll be there, so when I repopulate, I'll be ready to go. So I'm just gonna reattach this. I might, since I've got this apart, I might go ahead and swap this out because I only get to it from the bottom. So I think I'll go ahead and do that since I've got this apart anyway. So fun. All right, so I got a brand new plunger in there. Let me get this thing bolted back up. Wasn't planning on getting into this stuff yet, but just, you know, sometimes I don't want to pull this thing off twice, so might as well get it while I'm there. When I rebuild the flippers, I'll check out this mechanism, check out the plunger and the coil stop. All right, back to the top of the playfield. So Jane has started painting on this one. She just, like on these chains, just filled in the white. I guess she'll do the black later. Same on these chains here. So I think the only color she's done is white so far. Yeah, here's some more of the chain she's painted in. And then she'll do the black and the purple or whatever on top of that. I did notice that this one is busted right here. You weld it or G weld it, but I believe that's that part right there. I think Steve's got it in stock, I believe. This is the picture of it. I gotta go back and see if this is 30145. Oh, out of stock. He doesn't have that one. Well, I guess I'll have to repair that one. Now I can search to see if anybody else got it. Steve doesn't have it. Nobody's gonna have it. It's Gottlieb part, pretty much. Anyway, we'll let you know how it goes. So it's been almost a couple weeks since I've messed around with this Freddy. Jane has finished touching it up. She left me this note on here, so I wouldn't mess up her paint. It's been a few days since she wrote that. So she redid these chains. I'll zoom in you real close, you can see. You can see that silver is different than that silver. For whatever reason, chains were, that silver paint, I guess, didn't hold up very well. And any metallic paint is really hard to match. I think she did a great job on it. There were some other spots, well, a lot of this. Well, that whole, you can see that whole area, once I get it shine, that was all bare. Most of that was black, which makes that a little easier. I say it's easy, I couldn't have done it. Where else? I think maybe some of that, if I get the shine on there, we can see. Yeah. I don't even know where all the spots were. There might have been some up here, I don't know. Anyway, today I'm gonna start putting this back together. I mentioned the fact that this thing wasn't going up and down. That was just the arm. I just adjusted that and got it in the right range of motion, so that is working all right. So today I'm gonna start by waxing this thing, and then I'm going to start reassembling it. And I've got all my parts in, I think I do. Then I realized I still haven't fixed this bracket, so I'm gonna have to do something with this. Either I'm gonna have to weld that on there or just get a new piece of strap like somebody's done up here and rivet it on there. I may take that approach. Don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm gonna have to do something pretty quick because I'm wanting to get this one finished up and get it buttoned up. Oh, and the customer took all the rails and the lockdown bar, had them powder coated. He gave them to me this past weekend, and they look pretty good. I'll show you this lockdown bar. The thing with powder coating, it's all electrostatic, so the paint gets everywhere. Gets in all the crooks and crannies, because it's done by electric charge. I mean, they spray paint it, but the paint has one charge and the metal has another charge, so it sucks it on there like a magnet, literally. So the paint goes every single place. So those are gonna look nice. So I'm gonna start waxing, then start throwing this back together. It's got an upgraded hand. So I guess this was the old hand. I might have shown you this. It's been a while for me. That's the new hand. Much more gruesome. So I'm just going to steal the bracket off the old hand and put it back together. And also I'm going to swap. I've mentioned I'm going to swap out all the LEDs. I'm going to keep the purple, but these Comet purples are a lot brighter than those other purples. And getting to throwing this back together. Got to remember wire that up before I put that back in, wire that flasher up. Anyway, so first step, get to waxing. So I put this thing in a lamp test underneath. I'm noticing there's still quite a few incandescent bulbs. I just swapped out those two there. So looks like most incandescent bulbs that are on these boards have not been swapped out. Well, some of them have down these. So I don't know, for whatever reason, somebody left these incandescents. Some of them, a couple of them are burned out. But anyway, I'm gonna swap out the rest of these with LEDs real quick. They're not too bad, just a couple of little clips, and that thing comes off, and then put them in. We'll turn the game off first on these because don't want to short these things and make a mess up. So I got the wax off, I got the LEDs, tops and bottoms done. I've got these are, what are they called? Metal mods, something called metal mod decals on here. By the way, these were a real pain in the butt to put on. There's a video you're supposed to watch to put them on. I did watch the videos. I'm glad I did. Even with that, they're a real pain. Because I was thinking, you know, it's conical and the sticker's not. So I was thinking that's not going to lay down. And of course it doesn't. You have to cut it. And these were extra long, so I had to cut out a little section about that far big on both of them. And they laid down. They look pretty good. They look really cool on the game. I put some red LED lights in there. They look pretty cool, I'd say. I get it to blink again. Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. But if you buy some of these, just know you're getting into something. And these, so you have to use contact paper, or you're supposed to use contact paper for these. And this one is easier than the design that on the video. It's more intricate. So this one comes up pretty easy with the contact paper. The center part. So anyway, there's that. So I'm gonna get to busy. I'm gonna start cleaning all this junk up and get all the bolts organized and start repopulating this. And I'll probably just start at the bottom and move my way up and get her done. So I had to buy some of these because I didn't have any, because they're kind of rare. Gottlieb's the only one who used them and only on certain games. So I called up Steve at the PBR and I said, Steve, I need, 13, whatever the number is, A5923, let's say. He's like, oh, you must be working on Freddy. And that was all I had said. So he knows that there's 13 of these on this game. And it's like by number. He knows every part on every game. It's crazy. So anyway, that's trash. Yeah, I got my new ones. It wasn't 13. It was like whatever, how many there are in there. Anyway, so I'm going to get to organizing. So yesterday on the way home, I went and got some angle iron, angle aluminum, and I'm gonna make some brackets for this. I didn't realize there was a cutout. I was like, why is that cutout there? And it's really just so it'll shine light on that hole, because there's a bulb right there. So anyway, I'm gonna cut 2 sections of this and rivet it on both sides. That'll be better than the one side missing, and this side, that is actually pretty flexible. When I pulled this off, it was all bent over because that piece of metal there is not strong enough. And this is pretty rigid. I think it'll be much better. Well, it's definitely gonna be much better than this. So I'll just do the slice and dice and rivet it on there. Have to drill these rivets out first. Not too big a problem. I got my angle iron cut. Django's keeping an eye on what I'm doing here. And got these things marked. Just laid it up here. Marked my holes. And I'm gonna rivet it on there. It doesn't reach up to the top. Well, and I'm gonna do it the right way on the bottom, because that sorry, y'all can't see what I'm doing. That little notch has got to be on the bottom. So I'm gonna get them riveted up there. Then I'm gonna put on the machine and kind of mark where to put the hole for the screw to screw it in there. And I'm not too concerned about that lining up perfectly, because if I put a new hole in there, that'll be fine. So I'll get an 1/8 inch bit and make an 1/8 inch hole, because I'm using 1/8 inch rivets, and that's what these are. So that'll be nice and snug then. So I've got that riveted on there, and I've got a little bit of a fitment issue. That corner there, it's this bushing. That's for the hand that comes around there, because I can see that the old mark that should need to slide down a little further. So I'm gonna take the grinding wheel and just grind a little bit of that corner off so I can get it slid down there. I'm gonna drill some holes through there and get that thing screwed in. So I got that in there. It's solid. So now I can keep populating the rest of this playfield, keep moving up. Took all the flippers apart. Yeah, they weren't actually that bad of shape. The plungers had a little bit of slop, so I'm gonna get some new plungers. Guess you can see that. Really, that one's not so bad. That might be the upper flipper. The lower ones were a little bit worse. So this ramp feeds the left end lane. You can't buy it. And it's cracked up here. In fact, that rivet is busted loose. It will swing out. I kind of can jam it back, almost jam it back with my thumb. So anyway, I'm going to use some baking soda and super glue in there, which is a really strong fix, very strong. It's not going to be the prettiest thing, but it will keep it from disintegrating. And like I said, you can't buy this for now. Maybe in the future somebody will make one of them, probably so. But until that point, it'll keep this thing playing. Yeah, you can see how it's just splintered around that whole area there. I may just go ahead and pull that pad up, and so I can really, because there's probably a lot more damage underneath there. Yeah, you can see that rivet's just ripped through the plastic. I don't know. I'm gonna see what it looks like underneath that pad. Well, about what I thought it would look like. So I don't know what's holding it. Not much. I can get this plastic back underneath those rivets. That's what I'm going to try to get done. Don't know if I'm going to accomplish that or not. May end up breaking it. I think I'll just not go any further. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a whole bunch of baking soda on there. Whew, that's quite a bit. Maybe shovel some of that back out. Kind of want to get it smooth if I can, because this is a ball surface. All right, so my limited experience using this is that it's pretty hydrophobic to start with. Actually, that one's dried up. Let's see if I get another one. Well, maybe not. You go get a fresh bottle. Okay, I got some here. Yeah, see, it's just kind of not really sucking in there very well. But it will. Whew, the vapors are getting strong. Probably don't want that big hunk in there. I'll have to get some more super glue. I need to.
this set. There we go. I'll be right back.
All right, back with a little bit more super glue. I'm gonna turn my fan on. It's just, these fumes are awful. And I'm gonna have an excess of super glue to baking soda or baking powder, baking soda. I don't. It's Arm & Hammer, whichever one that is. And I'm okay with that. And I'll let that dry, or absorb all the water at once. And that will be super solid. Like I said, it's a little bit ugly, but it felt like it's necessary. All right, so I got this thing put together mostly. Got these side rails on here. I think they look pretty nice. I'm missing these little carriage bolts on either side. I sent them off with these. They didn't come back, so I'm gonna have to go to the hardware store. I was thinking maybe they'd get powder coated, but I don't have them, so I'm gonna have to go get some new ones. Couple that, not really crazy about these red LEDs in here because they light up the whole triangular area, not just the four. So I may put something a little bit less bright. These are the Comet 2 SMD, and they're really bright, and they're just a little too much because you see the big triangle. I'd rather just see the four. So I may swap those out. Put a ice blue in the TV. I think that looks pretty good. Anyway, overall, I think it looks pretty nice. A lot better than it was for sure. In any case, I'm gonna go out for lunch and maybe run up to Ace Hardware. I gotta get a key made and look for some carriage bolts. And really the only thing left is put together its flippers. I gotta swap out these bushings here. This one I can't get out at the moment because this house is in the way. But I gotta take it apart. I gotta take the whole mech apart down to get to the bushing. You see how much slop there is in that bushing. So just take those out. This still looks pretty crappy. I'm happy with how strong it is. I'm not happy with how it looks. I'm half tempted to see if Jane just paint it blood, make it red. That way, I don't know. I think red would kind of, it goes to the theme, like belching out blood all over the thing. I think that'd look actually all right. I don't know. I may talk to Jane about it. So anyway, I'm off for lunch. So I ran up to Ace Hardware, got a 10 by 24 carriage bolt in stainless. It's nice and shiny. That's what it looks like put in there. Looks pretty good. The one that was the original one, at least the nut, was a 8 by 24. So a little bit bigger. I was afraid that well, they didn't have 8 by 24 carriage bolt first off. So I guess that was it. And they had like a Phillips, which wouldn't look really nice having Phillips on there. And everything, I was afraid it wouldn't quite cover that hole. So I swapped out those 2 SMD red ones for just some old crappy white ones that I pulled out of a game a long time ago. It looks like they're flickering, they're really not. That's just the frame rate of my camera. But I think this is about done with the exception of rebuilding the flippers, and I got parts coming in, so just waiting for parts, and should have those in what's Wednesday, so probably have those on Monday. Been a couple weeks for me. I'm gonna yank off these flipper assemblies so I can replace those plungers, or the bushing, sorry. They are screwed from the back side. You gotta yank those 6 screws out, get that whole thing off so you can get to those 3 screws and replace that bushing. So I gotta do that 3 times and put it back and then rebuild the flippers. And well, this is part of rebuilding it, but gotta start here. A pretty good example of a wallered out flipper bushing. You can see it with your eyeball. but you got to take it off to see it. Well, you can basically, if you hold the flipper and just wiggle it, you can see it wiggling. Yeah, you're starring, Django. You're always in star. But yeah, these things, I don't think they'd ever been replaced. But they are now. I just swapped out these bushings. These were not horrible. Some were worse than others. One of them was pretty sloppy. Yeah, this was, and they're not awful bad. You get a little slop here, and then there's a little more slop where that shaft there goes through here, a little slop there, a little slop there, a little slop in the bushings. Between all that slop, they get pretty sloppy. Yeah, I see ya. So they'll shoot better. Your aim will be better. And you think your aim's bad? No, it's sloppy flippers. So I've got all the flippers installed with the red silicone flipper rubbers. I think they look pretty good. I went ahead, instead of trying to paint that, I just put actually that's beer seal. So 2 pieces of beer seal fit in there nicely, and it covers all that up, so it's not even there anymore. I took off these, basically, obviously this was in commercial like they all were. Keep people from pilfering the quarters. So I'm gonna, here's the hardware that bolts it on there. There's one I polished all the paint off of. And there's one I haven't. Or maybe, I don't know if it's painted. I think it's painted. That's something somebody painted over the chrome or the nickel, whatever it was. Anyway, I'm just gonna put those bolts back in there. It'll just be 2 little nickel carriage bolts. They'll look pretty decent. And that'll also cover up most of this wear right here. I don't know. It'll be pretty unnoticeable. A couple of, yeah. Anyway, then this thing, I'm gonna do some play testing, and got some art blades to put up there. They're hanging up on the wall, kind of getting them straight. Put the art blades in here, put the lights back in, then this one will be ready to go. So I got those little bolts in there. Instead of having this, it looks a lot better. Got the game up and running. Noticed a few errors. This kicker here doesn't work. It is registering switch hits, but the kicker's not working. This is kind of interesting. This little, it's very bouncy now. It's just reflecting it. So might do something a little different there. And lastly, this little diverter in the back, I'm not sure what activates that, but I played it a little bit and I haven't ever got the ball back there. So maybe I need to play better, or maybe that's not working. I don't know. I may go through the solenoid test. But the first thing I'm gonna do is, well, I might have to figure out something with that. I'm gonna check this one, make sure it's got power to the coil. Make sure I got power to that coil back there, and go from there. I figured out the first issue. This one here, it's a switch, but it's not a kicker. That's that one right there. I thought that was going to be a kicker because it looks, there's a couple more. There's one right there and one right there that are actually kickers. So now I'm going to get this thing propped up and see if I can get to that, look at that solenoid in the back. Well, I think I've figured out what this is. I went down below and it was like the mechanisms all locked up. When this comes back, there's that little rivet. If I push this a little further, if you listen, it snaps in there, and then it's locked in place behind the edge of that rivet. I pull up my finger, but that solenoid is not strong enough to yank it out of there, so I'm gonna have to bend this thing a little bit. It looks like somebody has done that in the past. It's got a slight bend to it, so I think somebody's done that, or I don't know. In any case, it's gonna have to be modified to either be a little shorter or a little longer so it never gets in that exact position, because that doesn't work. So I'm gonna get a pair of pliers and try to put a little more bend in that. So I started playing another game, and this thing still didn't operate. I did have a message on here saying hit the soul shot. I mean, that looks like soul's there, and this target is not working. Every other switch on here, I believe, is working now, except for that one. So that could be the soul shot. I don't know. So I've got a few things left to fix. Got to fix this from auto jumping back, that switch, and that solenoid operating that gate. It could be that this switch is the problem with the gate, or it could be the gate just burned up because it was jammed up like that, and you know. So who knows? I think I'm gonna start with this switch. It makes most sense to me. Oh, I also noticed this thing is kind of wiggly. You get that tightened up. We'll start with this wiggly switch. See you twisting that? Missing a screw there, so I'm gonna pull that off and replace that. Dig around my box of lost parts and find something a little suitable for that. All right, so I got that one fixed. I got the second bolt through there. Pulled this other one, the one that's not registering. I'm gonna turn the game on, and I'm gonna short those 2 pins right there. So they've got these switches made with basically PCB boards. So it could be the circuitry on the board itself. But before I disassemble and try to repair the board, I'm gonna just see if that's the problem, because it should register if I short those 2 pins right there. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I'm in the switch test. I just hit a switch to make sure it's working. So this top center target, that one's working. I'm gonna just short these 2 pins right here if I'm in the field of view. Top left target. That's not the one I just hit, is it? Top center. It did. So that did register. So this is my top left target. So it's top center. I'm going to hit it again to see if we go. Went to top left. So that, when I shorted, it's working. So the problem is in this little PCB. So I'm going to take it apart. I'll show you what happens when I'm going to hit this one down here. I just top center. So it's still top center. This is my top left. But if I just, surely it's not just dirty. Yeah, it's just dirty. I just pressed it really hard. So, I mean, it's making contact, but not very well. I'm gonna look at the other ones. There's no point on the back of there. It's just the back of the rivet is the only thing there. I don't know if one of the rivets or one of the points has fallen off this thing. I know I'm not doing a very good job filming this, but we'll look at one of the other switches and compare it to it. So I pulled out another switch that's working fine. Yeah, and it's just the rivet makes contact with the leaf. So there's no point in per se. Just a old crappy 30-year-old rivet, 40-year-old rivet, almost. Anyway, so I guess I'll clean that rivet and I'll probably be good. So I cleaned the back of that rivet and I bent the blade so it's a little closer, so when it hits, it's got a little more pressure on there, and it's working fine now. So I'll bolt that back up, and while I got the Playfield up and kind of in the menu, I'm gonna go through the solenoid test and see if I can get this to operate in self-test. So I'm in the test, top left ball gate, that's the one, and it's not operating. So I'm gonna have to dig deeper. The other thing I don't know is whether or not that kicker works. I may get a screwdriver and poke down in there and see if that will pop up, because that's the other one that I haven't operated yet. I've also still got to put this glove back on. So I'm down to, well, I'm still down to 3 things. I'm marking them off and marking them on. The glove, got to do something with those rubbers and that gate, and verify that kicker is working also. So, oh, and the side art and the lights. I was looking, I get a second button here. I actually don't know what that other button's for. Surely it's not the ball gate. Huh, that'd be something. Some of y'all are going, there's the ball gate, you gotta press the button. It's probably not at that, but wouldn't that be something? Yeah, it looks like that bottom right button is the claw save, which is basically comes up and saves your ball, which is a pretty cool feature. So that's another thing I gotta make sure it's working. So I took the next step and measured voltage on these lugs, see if I've got voltage to power anything. I did not. So I went through here and measured continuity, and I believe it was this one here was blown. So I'm gonna swap out F29, see where that leaves me. So I'm back in the test mode. That works. Unfortunately, when I was going and measuring voltages, the first thing I did was I tried to measure this one because it was just easy to get to. I couldn't measure voltage here, so I measured a different one, and it was measuring. Oh, they were all 69 volts, except for this one and this one that was dead. And I found that bad fuse for this one. This one I still don't have voltage for the claw. So I'm gonna have to figure out why I don't have voltage for the claw. I don't think it's any of those fuses. I don't think it's, well, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at schematics, but I didn't note any of them that were blown when I did a continuity test. So track down what's unique about where this one gets its voltage, because it doesn't have any right now. Well, I found the glove flipper. It's controlled by F22 and also this B switch. So I don't know if that's a relay or something. I know Gottlieb, they've got, and there's these System 3, they still had old school relays. So it could be that B, wherever B is at. I don't know. Don't know what B is exactly. I'm gonna check F22 again. I'm gonna pull it out and check it. I actually didn't pull all those fuses out to check them. I know you're supposed to, but usually I don't. And Gottlieb's one place where sometimes they'll test good when they're bad. So I'm gonna pull that and check it. Checked F22, it was good. Looked around for relays. I found with B label real clear. So this is, and that's my orange and purple wires, which come off here and terminate here, which powers that coil. And this whole thing may be working. I haven't hooked it up yet, so I'm guessing the game fires this, which powers that. So maybe they're using the voltage side to control that. I don't know. That's not normally the way pinball machines are done. Usually they ground it, but it looks like they're controlling the voltage to it. I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing together, and hell, it may work. I don't know. So I've got a new, I think I showed you all this, a new hand. It's slightly smaller, but it's got a lot more detail to it. So I just got to take the holder and just move it over to here. Hopefully, I don't know if it's got, probably not threaded, probably just screws in. We'll see. Hopefully that's not gonna be, so it's just got, yeah, it's just gonna screw in. Hopefully that's not gonna be an issue. Into that hard plastic. We'll see. All right, we'll undo this. Yeah, this one's been repaired. What I've heard is the blades always break off. This one's in pretty good shape, actually. Let's see, that's the problem. This thing doesn't, see how it fits? Like shit. It's not. It doesn't fit. Not really. Holes don't line up. Yeah, they're a little bit better than I thought. Well, let me get one started, we'll see. Oh, it's better than I thought, but it's not. It's definitely got more detail, but I don't think it's as well made as the original, I would say. Looks like maybe somebody's done some custom painting on this one, all the gold on there. I don't think that's original. It looks pretty good though. I don't know if it's supposed to be gold or not. It looks like that should be a different color than that. Like that was metal on his hand and that's maybe leather. I don't know. I'm not a Freddy freak.
This is getting pretty hard to turn. Almost feels like that one bottomed out. So that one's it's nice and flat. This one really just, see, there's a little bit of gap in there. I guess it doesn't really matter. It just makes it a little more rigid, having that big surface to take the loads instead of it all getting transmitted through those two little screws. But it is what it is. Anyway, I'm gonna throw this on there. All right, so I think I've got everything going except for this claw. What I have done is during gameplay or during the test menu, if I hold down that B relay, it does give power voltage to this solenoid. And if I hold down the B relay and hit the left flipper, it will flip. It does. I do have an issue here. Mods suck. See how that hits? Yeah, not good. So that's going to have to be probably either taken off and trimmed or trimmed in place. But if I trim it in place, it's going to get a mess. Either way, more money. So that B relay is not going. So I'm going to go through try to go through the menu and see. I'll go to the self-test. I got to go to the memory and see if there should be a solenoid for that B relay. Okay, let's see if we can find one. There's B relay. Bank relay. No. That's it. Glove flip. Okay, now so I press this. I hear it. Oops, I switched. I went off of it. I gotta get back. There we go. See ya. When I clicked it, then that jam's shut. I hit it and hit the left flipper at the same time, and it worked. So, why isn't the glove? What activates the glove flip relay? I would assume it's when you go into there, because I don't think there's another switch. When you go into there, it should hold it for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 seconds, give you enough chance to hit it, but it doesn't. At least I don't think it does. I don't know. I'm going to go through. I'm going to start up a game. We'll try this again. Okay.
Ready, go.
First thing I'm going to just see if I can. There's so much. I'll go through this multi-ball and I'll get you back here in a second. Messing with it, I see glove flippers, so maybe that's something you got to earn. I bet that's it. So I just got to play better, not suck so much, and then the glove flipper probably gonna work. That was me because I got the hand that's saying ball stuck, call service person. So that's on my hand. So anyway, I'm gonna play another game, and I'm gonna like hit all the buttons until I can qualify glove flipper. And yeah, it's hard to work on these games if you're not familiar with actually how everything works. And I'm not super familiar with this one, so I think that's all that's wrong with this one. I am gonna have to trim this thing up because it needs to go all the way to the set, which is further than that. Well, I figured it out. I saw this glove flipper, so I guess you have to hit that captive ball a few times and then hit it, and it got jammed there. And I guess the goal is to shoot it maybe back up and hit the captive ball, because these things were going crazy, these lights here. So Anyway, I'm going to do something, trim a little off of there, and no, I think I'm done with everything but fixing these mods. I did notice. I get out of here. These bulbs died. I didn't swap these out for that one. There is dead. I didn't swap these out for LEDs because I think they look better with incandescents, but you know, they don't last as long. So you know, that's the downside. And these are not. They're a little bit of a pain. I might be able to get that out without taking it off. I don't know. We'll see. So I shaved a little bit off there, just with some side cutters, and then I just kind of smoothed it up a little bit with the file. I also bent the whole thing back that way a little bit, that whole bracket. It's a little bit beyond vertical like that, just to get it off the wall, and now hits the coil stop, and it's not hitting the side. So that's better. So I believe that's everything. Oh, geez, I still got to deal with this. Yeah. This is one of those deals, though. It should be pretty easy to fix. This is like, you know, moon mission. You got to have everything right to get the man on the moon and get him back again. Just change one thing, or one thing is a little different, probably won't make it. So this is going back. You couldn't actually do that on purpose if you wanted to, but I've done that. So if I change something just a little bit, it's not going to go back again. So I get something that's not quite so elastic, or just change the configuration up a little bit. I thought about just sticking another, so if the ball doesn't hit flush, if it hits kind of at an angle, it's going to divert and not do what it's doing. I don't know. I'm going to see what kind of other adhesive type cushions I've got laying around here. So I took out the beer seal and I cut some little thin metal. That's basically like a ramp flap material, like on the bottom of a ramp that would flat go lay down flat against the playfield. So I cut a piece of that, lays in there, so it covers up all the white glue mess. I think that's gonna. I just got it gluing in there now. By the way, I think, you know, I was kind of questioning why they had a relay to that. Obviously, the answer is they wanted to have power to this just intermittently, so you every time you hit the flipper button, it doesn't activate this, but you do use the flipper button to shoot it. So when that comes out there, and you can't shoot it every time it comes through there, so the game controls when you can use it, but you get to use a flipper button. So kind of makes sense. And it's kind of a cool trick. You know, you get to try to shoot the ball, I believe, back up at that captive ball. So I keep saying I'm almost done. I always say that. I believe it's just the lights and the blades over there. And I can't put those blades in until Jane gets in tomorrow, because she's going to help me with it. Oh, well, there's a TV that's laying down the bottom, the little small TV I took out. It just mounts on one of these little screws. That'll just take a second. So anyway, I think I'm pretty much done with this. Once that gets dry, I'm going to do just a gameplay video. Oh, great, another bulb is out. Nope, it was just in the mode. That one was lit at the time. So anyway, guess I'll about 2 seconds for y'all, I'll do a gameplay video. All right, I think I got this ready for a gameplay video. And just right on par. I got a bulb out. There's probably another bulb out. Y'all see if you can find it. So I'm gonna put you on the stand. We're gonna fire it up. I like the attractor mode on this. It's got all the GIs are off in the back glass, and the flashers are flashing. It looks dangerous and scary and stuff. All right, so here we go. This game is kind of long playing, I'd say. Get a multi-ball right away. I got this shoot in there. Wow, great start to my multi-ball. Oh. So I get for saying it's long playing. Yeah, there's ball one. That was a real long playing game, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Super easy. shoot, letting it drip off the upper left flipper, and I think that's probably not a good plan. That probably is not a very good plan. We'll try to hit the boiler. Oh, I've got my claw ready. I'm still not sure exactly what I'm supposed to be shooting at with it. I'm thinking you're supposed to hit that captain ball or maybe the TV. I don't know. Oh, I timed out. Maybe it's to get back up in the boiler because it was lit there for a little bit. Wow, great game area going here. So, Pinball is Nightmare 3. I guess those are like modes. I don't know. Jeez, I suck. That boiler is like a pretty easy shot. I just shanked it like 3 times in a row. Lost 3 balls. Yeah, this game is like super easy, and because I can't do crap, so I'm gonna try it one more time. Extra ball. I don't believe in that. Should be banished from all pinball. Okay, I'm gonna be serious now. I'm gonna shoot it in the hole. There we go. Let's do multi-ball. I was wondering how that would handle. That's good. Put 2 in there. Scoop it once. Sometimes that'll jam them up. It did not, so that's good news. My right slingshot's not quite sensitive enough. I just added a ball. I don't know how I did that, but it's pretty easy to do because I've played this game a couple times and I do it a lot. I think I'm on a timer. Yeah, I think it was a timer for the boiler. I don't know. Why is the boiler halfway up? That's my question. Doesn't seem like a place it should be. I'm thinking it came unadjusted. The game's extra wiggly because I don't have any legs on it. It's just sitting on a cart, so. How about a little nappy? Kind of leaning to the right way, too. I think that should be going up and down over there by the boiler when the ball starts. Maybe it's just the first ball.
Says add Kruger. I don't know what adding Kruger means, but I just did it. Add coffee. Is that like Cornholio mode for Vegas? I don't know. Does Kruger eat coffee and like go crazy or something? I don't know how coffee works in the world of Freddy Krueger. I'm gonna at least start it in the game. I want to see if that the door comes up and down, because it seems like we got to. I know it should have the first ball. Okay, it's not quite going all the way up. It's going higher than it did, but not quite as high as it should. Maybe it got stuck in a situation where it wasn't all the way up, so it couldn't see the top switch and it got lost. I'm gonna say that's what it was. I wonder if you can hit the captive ball with the left flipper, and you can. It's a pretty skinny shot, but how about a little nappy? I like that call out. Ooh, this is my glove shot. I got an extra ball. That was, I don't know. No claw. So I don't know why it gave me multi ball for that, but it did. I had no idea on the roof, basically. So I just got to add a ball, and directly lost it. Whoa! Very lucky. Yeah, he got 2 balls in his mouth. Freddy can have 2 balls in his mouth. That's good to know. Sometimes that's gonna happen. Ooh, got all 4 balls out. If you're still alive, you're gonna add balls to it. I'm sure there's a means to do it. You know what you're doing. Okay. I've got all 3 drop targets down. They didn't come back up. I don't think that's probably right. I don't know. So I'm finding more stuff. I'm only on mode 2. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here.
Oh, I got my claw ready. Doomed. Oh, shoot again. Okay. That was a pretty long ball. 144 million, yeah. Did I give me multi-ball? Oh. Tilt works. Oh, I had my claw. I haven't even been playing with my claw. I could have saved that ball. I think it saved it for me. Yeah, my claw's ready. Yeah, it's not going to save that. If it comes through that way. I'm not going to save that. Party on, dude! Look, I just heard the knocker go. Ah, there we go. Well, I'm up to level 4. It'd be more fun if I knew what I was doing. Oh, claw's ready. Okay, here we go. It didn't hit anything. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to get. Woo, there's 2. Oh. Ah. I had some coffee. Didn't seem to do much. So I am ready to start level 6. And then the final. So I think I almost made it to the wizard. I don't know. Or maybe I was on level 6. I don't know. It looked like it's flashing like either I was about to start it or I was on it. I don't know. Anyway, pretty cool. So a couple of little tweaky things to do. I adjusted this. I guess I didn't tighten it down enough. Drop targets, I'm going to look at that light bulb. A couple of little tweaky things. Otherwise, I'm pretty much done. I am going to get my name on there because, you know, why not? Anyway, hope you liked the video. If you did, click like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers.